Facebook, it's Jerry coming to you today from Rythmia Life Advancement Center, beautiful Guanacaste, Costa Rica. And it is a perfect Tuesday, another perfect Tuesday. What is Rythmia? Rythmia is a life advancement center that uses multiple modalities, including sacred plant medicine, ayahuasca, metaphysical teachings, the cleanse, yoga, meditation, breath work, great food, amazing workshops to bring about this total change that we call a soul merger, or in ancient times they called a soul reclamation, or a soul reclaiming. And we're incredibly good at it. We're very, very good at it. This is called Medicine Talks number 6, our 6th one. And in this, we talk about things that we've learned from the medicine. And what's interesting is how now with over 14,000 guests, 14,000. So that's 36,000 individual ceremonial sessions, experiences. Crazy, right? So, but these ceremonies and journeys have very similar lessons. I bet I could categorize the lessons as 30 different stories that it teaches in variations. What's interesting about our place? Well, 97.77% of everybody who walks through the door and completes the program states they had a life-changing miracle during their stay. That's the highest it's ever been. We're getting better and better and better at what we do. So that's 977 out of 1,000 say they had a life-changing miracle during their stay. Better yet, at 6 months, 90.28% of the people say this was the week that changed their life. This was the week that changed their life. And what happens during that week? Well, and this is a generalization, but for the vast majority of the people, they go through this soul reclamation, this soul merger, and then they vividly get told or see how they can better participate in the shift by becoming a beneficial presence on the planet. And what usually happens, I call it a grand design. The medicine gives them the end point because the medicine is always telling you your highest potential. The medicine, the mother, is always telling you everything you could be. The father's probably telling you your shortcomings, but the mother is telling you everything you could be. So the medicine sees you in your highest, most beneficial self. And gives you that picture, this grand picture. Now, you go home and you develop a plan around that picture. This is you becoming a beneficial presence on the planet. Now, the medicine tells you to master that. It's about 10 years, right? And it turns out to be true in real life. And that it's going to be hard. It's going to be disenchanting. You'll have days, many, many, many days where you don't want to do it. And the medicine asks you to make a commitment to your word that you're going to keep this vigil until you get to this place where you become a beneficial presence. Now, the interesting thing is, at some point in that 10-year journey, you start to realize that the journey is the gift. And the end result is kind of not as important as the journey. And that's where the richness and the juiciness and the beautifulness of this life become apparent. That it's just this journey and the characters you meet along the way and the sweat that you expend and the toil that you expend and the hard work and disappointments and all that are the journey, and the journey is what you fall in love with. Now, in that, we have to learn something. So what do? We take this way of becoming a beneficial presence, we backtrack to all the steps that it's going to take to get there, and then we start on our journey. Now, what is the most common thing that happens on that journey, right? Nobody who ever started with the plan, when they get there, does that plan look exactly the same? It's an impossibility. It does not happen. So during our journey to the place, we realize that we constantly have to recalibrate and adjust. So, in other words, if I have it figured out that I'm going to practice guitar 25 minutes a day for 10 years, and I'm going to wind up the new Eddie Van Halen or Prince or whoever it is that you believe is the greatest guitarist ever, and I'm going to heal the hearts of people through my playing of the guitar. Well, that starts out and looks like 25 minutes a day, but then I get a job, and that job takes 10 hours a day, 4 days a week. And I don't want to practice when I'm really tired. So now I got to shift to 25 minutes to more time during it. So what I'm telling you is the pursuit is a constant recalibration. Think of it like this. You're driving your car and you're going to a destination, and you have Waze or whatever your navigation system is playing, and it's telling you to take this road, but you're looking at the road and you realize that the road is flooded. So now what you have to do, you don't change your mind about where you're going. You backtrack, readjust, and come up with another way of getting there. Now, if every time you have to recalibrate and readjust, you get upset and have a tantrum and consider quitting and crying and all that, you're done. So what part of this process is looking at those obstacles as part of the puzzle and part of the process and part of the road and part of the journey, and loving them. I'm going to tell you that you can start looking at them as lessons and as learning. And when you do, so in other words, I'm counting on the bank giving me $100,000 loan, and in the 11th hour, through no fault of my own or through fault of my own, whatever, they'd say no. And oh my God, my whole world is rocked. I'm done. Well, now I got to rearrange things, and I have to recalibrate, and I have to look for the good that happened in that readjustment and learn from it, and then continually keep my eye on the prize, continually keep my eye on where I'm going, continually like the journey, continually honor the agreements that I made with myself in spite of a road that's constantly changing. That's what it's about. That's how to get there. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Here's the good news. Most people quit. Most people quit. Most people, I was watching that one guy from the Shark Tank, and he said about 4% of the people can actually be entrepreneurs. Why? Because there's so much heartache, setback, disappointment, negative things, reasons to quit. There's a million. That's why only 4% of the people can actually be one. That's why you are special, because in your mind, if you commit to being one, an entrepreneur, a game changer, a disruptor, a mover and a shaker, a beneficial presence, whatever you want to call it, if you're one, you wear that coat, and that coat is Teflon. Meaning, the lesson is learned, but the angst caused by it is just pushed off me. Like like water off a duck's ass. It's just pushed off me. It's just another thing. Now, if you look at it that way, you will always get to where you're going. Always. And 96% of those traveling with you will quit. So, does that give you a competitive advantage? Absolutely. Tenacity and grit are the best competitive advantages you can have. Intelligence gives you a slight edge. Physical strength and dominance gives you a slight edge. But in these affairs, the affairs of becoming a beneficial presence on the planet, tenacity and grit are the winners. So if you don't have that, get it. Get it. Get it. It's the most important thing to take with you. Of all of the armaments you can have, tenacity and grit, the willingness, ability to readjust without pulling a tantrum, without crying and rolling around on the floor and screaming, with just, as they would say in the old days, take your licks and carry on. That's what it takes. And that is what it takes. And that will never change. No amount of free giveaways, no amount of handouts, no amount of states taking care of things will ever change that the winners, and when I say winners, I don't always mean the people who excel financially, although financial winning is a byproduct of this endeavor, right? But I'm talking about the winners, those that actually become a beneficial presence on the planet, have those things. They're armed with tenacity, grit, and the ability to readjust their plans on the fly without, woe me. Oh my God, can you believe this happened to me? Oh my God, da 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 da. Look, if you're wired so that every little setback is going to knock you down, you might still get there, but man, you're going to have a very sad time of it, because you're always going to be upset, because the nature of the universe is change. So in other words, when I set out, I'll tell you something. I was raised in a house in Pennsylvania, a little tiny town with a lot of woods, and I had woods in my backyard. This is in Scranton. This is 27 minutes or 25 minutes away from Scranton, and I had woods in this backyard, and in those woods at that time, let's say, I don't know, maybe I was 6 or 7 years old, I would be able to walk through the woods because there would be this trail, and the trail was as wide as a car, and it was in a forest. It was so easy to find. Well, come to be 55 years later, the trail that was there, I can't even decipher where it was on that land, because change is constant. So the path that I would have used to get there is now not even there. So however you start out with this plan, and please plan. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I every time I do something like this, like a business like Rythmia or whatever, I plan out where I want to get, and then every step backwards to today. And then every time that I have to change that, it's a big thing, but it's a great exercise because I'm constantly changing it. So I might have had 50 different roads to the end game, 50 different paths to get there. These are some of the lessons of the medicine. And I want to tell you what, please come to Rythmia. Please have the medicine talk to you, because she'll treat you with love, but make you grow up. So she will treat you with love, but make you grow up. The highest gift that can be bestowed upon you in this universe, on this earth, is to devote your life to becoming a beneficial presence to your friends, to your family, to your community, to your kids, to your business, to the world, to people, to really have your life, having your life, like live your life so that it mattered. And the thing about the universe, the thing about God is it doesn't give a shit about your yesterday. So redemption is a real thing. Transmutation of karma is a real thing. People talk about a life review and having all of this pain, when they die. They go through this life review and have that pain. I'm going to tell you something that I've suffered. I don't know how many deaths on the medicine, but more than 40, I would think. And when you punish yourself for your life, it's when you haven't changed that thing during your life. So the moment you change, your past is transmuted. The moment you change. And the world gives us an opportunity to change every second. There's a new second. Every second. So this act of picking this thing in the future, wanting to become a beneficial presence, and being constantly exposed to a landscape that's changing, and constantly challenged to have to change to accommodate that landscape, that's a life well lived. That is a life well lived. And you'll never have any idea how many karmic lives you transmute in one life where you decide to do that. So I'm going to tell you what, this medicine and this theory of life, this belief or knowledge, changed and saved my life. And it can change and save yours. Come here. Come to Rythmia. I have 2 books, by the way. I have 2 books. Please get those books. And please come and visit us, because people constantly tell me that there was their life before Rythmia and their life after Rythmia. And the life after Rythmia is better. Now, the challenges don't go away, but the way that we deal with them changes dramatically. So if you can come here with an open heart and an open mind and a willingness to relearn, you will have the most amazing rest of your life. So please come to Rythmia and join us. And by the way, this weekly Facebook Live is going to change next week to Tuesday. And I know that our social media team will put out an announcement regarding that change, so you have the times correct where you're at. But look at what I said. Change is inevitable, always. So please come to Rythmia, get a glimpse of the afterlife, spend a week when 3 to 4 nights you're going to see what happens when you die, what's out there, and it will change how you live your life. God bless you, God keep you, God hold you, and we will see you next week.